Yes, I can.
I'd like to call the Eureka Art and Culture Commission meeting to order on July 16th at 12:39. Roll call
Commissioner Block-Welliver,
here.
Commissioner Goodman, Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Topping,
Here.
Commissioner Haar, here, Commissioner Vielbig,
Here.
and Commissioner Atkins.
Here. Everybody's here. Okay, it looks like we have several approval of minutes. Do we want to do all three of them together? Are there any additions and corrections?
Actually, I did have one correction. It's just a spelling of a name. In the first minutes, the January 16th ones, Laura Quinados, who was one of the artists of the month, her last name is spelled Keenados. Yes. Everything else looked fine. Yes, so I make a motion to approve the January 16th, 2024 minutes with the correction, and approve the minutes for March 7th and May 7th with no corrections.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's adopted. No old business, new business. Eureka Street Art Festival proposed mural.
Yes. Let me pull that PowerPoint up. Okay. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to have all the commissioners here in person today. This is really fun. So we're going to talk about this year's 2024 Eureka Street Art Festival. I'm going to start by showing you the map for this year. So for this year, we have 15 murals being painted, and then we have 13 ceramic slugs that are going to be installed around town. And I want to emphasize that 0 city dollars were spent on this. This is all this is all contributions from property owners and fundraising, and the hard work of Jenna Katsos and Michelle Cartledge, who have really helped pull this together. So during this presentation, we're going to do two things. One, I'm going to give you like a sneak peek at the mural renderings, just because it's the best part of the festival, and I'm sure everybody's curious to see what's going to be going up where. And then we're going to have you all approve, if you're willing, a mural that we'd like to paint on the Eureka Municipal Auditorium. Anytime a mural is painted on city property, it needs approval from this commission. And so we'll be presenting that mural to you for your approval. So our first mural is going to be down on the Aquatic Center. It's going to be painted by Tony Diaz. And usually for the festival, we have a really formal process for selecting artists. And this year we really let property owners tell us who they wanted. And also this year, property owners paid for the full cost of the mural. The festival fundraised for the like lifts and power washing and prep and things like that. But the property owners are really carrying the cost of the festival this year. So the Aquatic Center, Cal Poly Humboldt, they chose Tony Diaz. He's a former student. They really wanted something that reflected the activities that they have down there. So this is what has been approved for the Aquatic Center roll-up doors. Lucas Thornton is going to be painting this wall in Opera Alley. There is an existing mural there that was recently touched up by Katie Texas, and that is going to remain. So Lucas's mural is kind of go around it, and the trees were pretty strategic in where they were placed to go around the windows. This is a wall that needs a lot of love. It's pretty beat up, and so it's a big undertaking that he's doing in this short window of time. Blake Reagan is going to be doing a small mural on the Eureka Theater. There is a wall that gets tagged a lot, and so you'll just be able to see the top of it, but they wanted an Art Deco theme, and his artwork is pretty heavy around that block, and so they wanted to keep that theme continuing. Murda Silva, Megan Phillips, and Violet Crabtree are going to be doing this mural on the side of Alder Grove Charter School. Haley Titus is going to be doing this mural on the Parents Nutrition Center behind the Eureka Post Office. And then last year during the participatory budgeting process, funds were allocated to do an intersection mural. And we had planned to do it during last year's Street Art Festival, and it was so much going on with painting the overpass. We just kept waiting, and here we are, but it is happening. And the only change, there's some concern about the background color and the traffic, and so some of the colors might be flip-flopped, like with the dark green as the background. Ben is going to be working on some revisions to that, but we are ordering supplies, and we'll be notifying neighboring businesses that will be happening. Kay Lopez is doing this small wall behind Eureka Natural Foods. This design is still being refined a little bit, but this is the general theme. Ben Goulard is going to be doing this mural on the corner of Quality Body Works. Lacey Dane will be doing this mural on the Healing Arts Center. The Center for Spiritual Living. It's near Henderson Center. I'm blanking on the addresses right now. And then Ellie Gainey worked with the Henderson Center Merchants Association to design this as kind of a placemaking mural for Henderson Center. And the Discovery Shop has been a big part of this. We had a private property owner, a resident, reach out to us on S Street. They have a long retaining wall kind of near Zane. And so they chose Jose Marino to do this lovely piece. It's on the hill on S Street. When you come down, like Zane's up here, and then you come down and it's on that, yeah. And then Jenna Katsos will be doing a mural for Lima's Pharmacy. So that brings us to Melita Jackson. So we're going to talk about the mural that we'd like to do. So I want to start by explaining that this was a mural. DHHS reached out to us. Their Suicide and Violence Prevention Program of the Humboldt County DHHS Public Health Division reached out because they wanted to do a mural this year. They wanted to sponsor a mural this year that had to do with hope and resilience. And they chose Melita Jackson, and then we had to come up with a space for a wall. And so one idea was the Municipal Auditorium, and we have project manager Davis in the audience here. I'm going to invite him up, and he can talk a little bit about the programming that's going to be happening there. Put you on the spot.
Hello. Hi, my name is Jeff. Good evening or good afternoon. My name is Jeff Davis. Work with the City of Eureka and the Uplift Eureka program. Our offices are currently located in the Municipal Auditorium, and this is the E Street entrance is where the future home of our resource center will be. This is going to be a great location. It's centrally located. It's on the same block as a bus stop. This will be open to community members to come in and get connected with resources and services. I feel it's a great spot for a mural, just with the visibility, with the high traffic, both foot and automobile. And it really ties into our mission at this resource center of community resilience with rebounding, with bouncing back. I don't know if I want to talk about the mural quite yet, but it really does strongly reflect what our core goal is for this community resource center.
Can you talk a little bit about the exterior changes too? What's going to be happening in the next few years?
Yeah, so the Municipal Auditorium is it's a great building. It's a historic building, and it's in need of some maintenance and some repair. So right now, there's some infrastructure improvements currently underway on the interior of the building. We've already completed some accessibility projects. We're currently securing or attempting to secure funds for a brand new roof on that auditorium. And then once we get that roof secured, I think it's going to be more and more working on restoring this historic building. Great, thank you.
So this is the area on the East Street walls that will be painted. Before I get into the design and showing you the design, did everybody read her artist statement? Okay, I thought that was very helpful in understanding her thoughts behind it and very moving. So we have the otters on this side with the bear grass, the condors on this side with the bear grass. Ooh. A Humboldt martin, and then the Chinook salmon. So the staff recommendation is for the commission to approve the design. Happy to talk about anything you all would like to talk about.
I just have one quick question. When we got the email with the attachments and all of that, I was in the neighborhood, so I kind of drove around, and I love that old building. And when it was, I did a big show when it was the Ink people there, and back in Dinosaurs Roam the Earth. Anyway, I love and that's when they were making the movies, so I'm not lying. The gray stripe where the mural was going to be, I love the location. I think it's fabulous, but it kind of goes all the way around the building. So the part that I was unclear of, it looks like her mural is facing East Street, and then a couple of those little pockets, but not necessarily the rest of the building.
No, it'll just be up to the downspouts.
Okay, so it ends there. It doesn't
It ends
go
there.
around.
It doesn't go around.
So maybe future venues for things.
Perhaps, yes.
Okay, cool. That's all.
I feel strongly about paying artists. So when we get more money, we would love to fund additional murals around the bottom.
This is very exciting.
Oh, I was going to ask for public comment. Is there any public comment?
Just need a motion.
Go ahead.
Can we get the motion language back?
We had to make sure there wasn't anybody on Zoom.
Ah, cool. Right.
Can't even hear you. Is it on?
No. Oh dear, this is it, I won't do any more. I move that the Art and Culture Commission approve Melita Jackson's mural for the Eureka Municipal Auditorium to be painted during the 2024 Eureka Street Art Festival.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, the mural is approved. Very nice. I thought her statement was really interesting and moving. Yeah. Reports and communications?
So now I want to talk about the 2023 Artist of the Year. So you all did your ceremony with the Artist of the Month. The mayor chose Becky Evans. The mayor reached out and asked for guidance from the commission. Multiple commissioners reached out and responded saying, I think you should choose Becky Evans. The mayor went ahead and did that. And tonight at City Council, Becky is going to be recognized. And part of that recognition was the creation of a video, which I wanted to share with you all here today. And our filmmaker, Joseph Carter, is on the audience. He made this video, so I'm glad he's here.
Oh, look at that.
I'm Becky Evans. An honor to be told I am now the Artist of the Year for 2023. A wonderful surprise, and Here we are in the barn. This is Lori Goodman's gallery. This is the backdrop. This is what I was working on this year along with Lori. In 2023, I had a project at the Morris Graves Museum. It was called 30,000 Salmon, and it was the second time it was shown. The first time it was shown was nearly 20 years ago at the First Street Gallery in Eureka. And this last time it was shown as a way of celebrating that the dams were coming down on the Klamath River. That goes back to 2002 when there was the fish kill on the Klamath River, and that was something that I felt like I had to see in person. A lot of my art, some people may know, has to deal directly with the land and the environment and what it teaches me. So I went out to the Klamath River with my husband, Bob Benson, who is a Sonungwe tribal member, and I wanted to witness that event because the first headline was 30,000 salmon, but we now know it was more like 80 or 100,000. But I had this idea that people needed to have a concrete idea of what a number is that is that high, and when it happens in your backyard.
Well, we could pause it for now and circle back later on and see if it's caught up with itself. It's very charming. I'm very excited to recognize Becky tonight. So, I guess we'll move on and come back. Okay, Sarah and I are going to trade spots, and she's going to do the Artist of the Month program changes.
Hello, Commissioners. So this is a discussion item today, and you should be well familiar with. We've talked about changing this program a couple of times, and now it's time to give us some feedback on where we move with it. So as some background, Artist of the Month and Artist of the Year, if I can get my slide to change, there we go, is a program that recognizes local artists for their contributions, and you, the Commission, selects the city's Artist of the Month, and then the mayor selects the Artist of the Year. And you hear this every time we meet, so I'm only going to briefly go through it. But for those who are curious, this is in previous packets and talks about the different nomination criteria. And then also how you get nominated and then the criteria to be selected. So currently you are an artist that is nominated by the Commission, or you've participated in the Eureka Street Art Festival, or you've done a utility box. And then we have a set of criteria to select Artist of the Month among you, and then additional, or the same set of criteria, but one more criteria needs to be met for Artist of the Year. So 2 criterion for Artist of the Year. Previously, also, we went through a logo redesign, so this is the logo that we currently use for the program. So that brings us to the question today. This is a program that has a lot of value and is meant to uplift Eureka artists, but in its current iteration, it doesn't shine as much as it could, mostly because it ends up at the bottom of staff's list oftentimes, and so we're looking for ways to, I think, do less and do it better, recognize artists and really look at ways to, I think, maybe have a handful of artists or one artist that we celebrate in a bigger way. Is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I think everybody has good intentions towards this. We all want to do this. I just think there could be a different version of this that might serve the artist better. Right now, it kind of feels like, whoop-de-doo, I'm the artist of the month. And for staff, it's another thing to do. And so I think I'd rather put all that energy collectively into like one bigger thing. And so just trying to think through together how we should go about that. And then we can come back at a future meeting with something for you all to vote on and approve, and we'll move forward with it. So this is meant as a conversation.
So I was thinking, I've been thinking about this because we have sort of been touching on it. And has anybody talked to the artists and asked them, like, what would be meaningful to you? For example, I know some of the purpose is to kind of get their work out there and their name and get them more opportunities. And that's wonderful. But what else? Like, have they mentioned to you all, or us all, not to me specifically anyway, of what would benefit them? What might, what might support them better? Is it, features in different publications that we have around the city or even county or beyond? And so that's what I was thinking is, have we spoken with anybody, a group or individually, and heard what their thoughts are that might be more meaningful for them?
That's a good idea.
As far as I know, that has not happened. No. But I know, excuse me, it always happens as soon as you turn on the mic. I know several of us have received that honor. And I love the idea of maybe there's a database or where all the websites for or social media for the people who have been selected can in the city, or maybe I know you can dig really deep and find the lists and so on, but you have to really be dedicated to search to find previous artists of the month. So maybe something a little more high profile, and I love the idea of maybe we send out a survey to some of the artists, or
700 things to do.
Right, we all do.
701.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that maybe a quick sampling, whether an informal conversation that we've had or a more formal, where you all put it together. Oh, there's somebody in the audience that
Public comment.
Is it time for public?
No, I don't know. What do you guys thoughts? Has anyone else been thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple thoughts. First off, I think that in terms of like being more sensitive to staff time as well as being more efficient, I think that we could do a lot of front loading potentially. Like if we are thinking about like honoring a certain number of artists per year, instead of, I think the artist of the month and like the mugs, it's nice, but I think like if we just perhaps pivoted to saying like, okay, we have 6, 8, 12, however many artists we just want to like spotlight and honor this year, and then we can just do that at one meeting and have it done. But then also I think part of the reason that somebody's gonna be like, oh cool, I got a mug, sweet, but like then what else does this mean, right? And getting to that question, like if say X number of artists are selected for the year at the beginning of the year, then we could be then the city through either the website or through newsletters or whatnot could be promoting these artists and kind of keeping in touch with them over the entire course of the year.
That's cool.
And then doing it and repeating that over the next year. That way it actually feels like an actual relationship that's being built with those artists and promoting them, even if it's in small ways that hopefully don't impact staff time very much. And it's not just like, cool, we got you a mug, great, bye, thanks for coming. Those are my thoughts.
Maybe that could be something that we work on in November and December, so that in December or January, whatever, that we're like ready to go. So the artists of the year for 2024 are, and we pick 7 artists, and it doesn't, and then it's not per month. it's done at the beginning, and then, like you said, highlight in all of our literature and our social media and things like that. I think that's a great idea. That for staff, what do you think? And then for artists too, more more meat and potatoes to it, or tofu or eggplant. If you're
And don't forget your okra.
and your okra.
Yeah, I think we're not doing this program well. And it's really just there's 3 of us running a lot of things. So I would rather that you all pick 3 artists, one artist that we can really shine a light on and make it special for them, than doing a bad job shining a light on 12. Just being really
Or
real.
maybe we would want to highlight, somebody from different media, or, a visual artist and a performing artist and dance, or, something like that. So there'd be somebody from each, because if we're going to limit, then to do it year by year, maybe it'd be nice to take some from different categories or something.
That's an idea.
Like how the chamber does their annual recognition, kind of, I was like, this is an option where there's like a nomination period, and then it's put out for a poll, and then there's like probably 8 different groups that are not like recognized at once. But it's not this monthly.
Yeah, we have too many. 12 is too many, and they get lost, and they have lose their importance, and
Well, I like the idea. I think, Calder, you said 7. What if each of us had one, chose one? And that would be one way to also make sure that we're covering all the bases of all the different branches of the arts, as well as making it special because we each get one. And then and then making sure we don't cross over would be, I guess, happen at a meeting. So maybe, like our first meeting, everyone brings their pick. It's like, we're building a sports team or something, but we're not sports. Yay, arts. We trip over ourselves. I don't know. I mean, I think we're on to something. I think there's some interesting things being said.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like 4 to 7 feels, or maybe like I could see maybe 3, but 4 to 7 feels like kind of the sweet spot. I'm a little bit, I don't personally love going down to just one a year, because I mean, that really makes it feel more competitive, and like, this was the only person that mattered this year. And I'm not in love with that approach, but that's my take on it.
I agree with that.
Doing an artist of the year, or is this
Well, the mayor
instead of
chooses the artist of the year out of the artists of the month that we have selected. So if we had just one, then we would be just assuming that role, and that's not necessarily, I think, what we're trying to accomplish here.
I kind of like the idea of a nomination process, but that would be a lot of work.
Well, there already is one that I don't think the public and others use very often, because since I've been sitting up here, I have not seen a nomination outside of us.
We've had, I think, maybe two people fill out the nomination form in the last couple of years.
I mean, I think we
how
could
does it
see
get to
some
us?
change there if we pivoted to an annual nomination process rather than every month and being like, oh, right, it's that time again. All right, like, yeah. So I think maybe like concentrating that effort into that, like just doing that once a year, and then following up with throughout the rest of the following year, just checking back in with the artists and promoting them and doing that. Yeah.
Maybe the journal would get on board.
Maybe it could be tied in with the open studios in some way, where there's something in the brochure, because that gives the public a chance to go, oh yeah, there's all these artists that I'm usually not aware of, or something.
The Humboldt Arts Council every year does an annual award for outstanding contributions to the arts, and we do seek public nominations, and I think it's a really great way to engage people. And I think people, when we did the overpass mural, really loved to vote, and so I think it's a great way to engage the community as a whole, and then possibly get some more nominations that we're not aware of. So I think it would be a great way, and it makes it a lot easier to do it once a year than every single month, and I'd be happy to help.
Well, and perhaps one of the ways to like celebrate this smaller number in future years would be, I don't know if there's a funding in the city for such a thing, but maybe there's the celebration is an event or a series of events over a course of a week or something of the year, and that's when the mayor would also be making their announcement for Artist of the Year, and like it could involve, we need to a couple venues for some performance type things and some gallery type things and whatnot. Yeah, like rather than just the 1 hour meeting at lunch that most people can't make, or it's really hard for them to because artists here have day jobs. So I don't know. Like, how do we? What's our big? How do we change it from the thanks for the cup?
Right.
Although I do love my mug. I thank
know.
you, ladies. I love my mug.
I mean, I'm with you there that like that sounds super fun, and I also am really leery about being like, hey, guess what, staff? Like, organize this giant event now, like because event planning is a lot of work.
It doesn't have to be giant, and maybe we can help with that. Like, I think I think we get overlooked in what we have to offer.
Well, actually, that's good. Good, we're volunteering all of ourselves now.
No.
Whoops. Oh no, actually, that could
I'm
be
not
fun.
volunteering all of ourselves.
But I mean, just no. I do agree that could be fun. I mean, I personally though, I mean, like I keep circling back around to like finding relatively small ways, like again through social media presence or through the website or just through newsletters, email blasts, things like that, that the city can stay engaged with these artists throughout a whole full calendar year. Right, just like 5 minutes to like check in and see like, oh, okay, look, for example, what's Lucas up to right now? Like, and that kind of, I think to me like that is both more functionally helpful to artists to keep that kind of continuous exposure going to the extent that it can, and it also feels to me more like relationship building in terms of like, okay, we're really like we actually are checking in and seeing like, oh, how are you doing at this point in the year, and so on and so forth. I don't know. I think it also might hopefully potentially like encourage the public to be more engaged on an ongoing basis as well, rather than just being like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of times in the sector, there's a sort of like, oh, great, we showed up for this one big thing, and now it falls off the radar until it happens again. And so, but that having been said, I mean, I always like a party too. So
right, exactly.
Well, maybe we could help with something like that if we each took one artist or two of us took one artist and kept up on them and did some publicity for them, sent a little blurb to the paper, the journal, I don't know, here's what so-and-so's doing now, and go check out their art or something specific. You don't have to do it.
No, actually, no, I like that idea. It's got like it's almost got like an old school like patron sort of like approach to it. Like, hey, I'm your commissioner for the year. It's like,
well, we can put it online. We don't have to do it. Send letters.
Are we giving you enough to, chew on?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Is there any last minute thoughts before we?
Public comment.
Okay.
Right?
Go ahead. Public comment.
I think I'm like, that's no.
Is this still going? Yes? Okay. So the City of Davis has something similar to this, but I think I sent it to one of you. I think I sent it to Jemima maybe when I was down in Davis a few months ago for the Whole Earth Festival, but they did it as a recognition to an artist based on the plant life that were in the area. And we don't have to base it on the plant life, but they have a QR code of the artist's rendition of the plant attached to the plant. So you could just scan it and see their rendition of it. So you could do something similar with, like a QR code somewhere around town that says, here's the artist of the month from January, here's their art site, here's some of their examples. And you would be able to see that just by scanning the QR code. And you could do that, without, even if you wanted to narrow it down to 4, maybe one artist per quarter kind of a thing. And then you could just have the QR codes around. If the artist chooses to update their website, then the information that the QR code leads to changes with that. So it's not limited to here's a mug, but it can be kept up for however long you want it to leave it there. It could be all year long. It could be several years from now. You could even have a line of QR codes, summarizing throughout the whole end of the year that here's the artists of the whole year. And people could then, during the open music or was it the Friday night music festivals and stuff like that, they can see that kind of stuff. So there is that option. But that gives them a little bit more of a physical in-person presence rather than a website and a mug that if you don't carry it in your hand everywhere you go, no one notices. So there was that. I was a really neat feature because I just walked right up to the tree, scanned it, and I was suddenly able to see the artist's art. And it was the information that was on that QR code is hosted by the city. So it's not like it has to be something kept up by the artist, especially if they don't have the funds to keep a website going or have the know-how for it. Then the city could just have a whole page devoted to that artist's work that they agreed could be hosted, kind of a thing. So there is that option.
I think that's a great idea because it's tangible for their business.
Yeah, it was really wonderful to see that. And when we were walking around Davis, just all over the place with that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think that's great. Because what more can you give an artist than attention?
Right. Yeah, the once a week thing is when the way that the education system in Humboldt does it, I think it's this kind of a statewide thing too, is that they do categorical, like you guys were talking about, visual versus, even music. The categorical concept works out really well because then you can have a teacher, you have the maintenance, you have the office staff and so on, or food prep was another one. So categorical concepts does work really well. The voting concept from the public can unfortunately turn it into a popularity contest. So if you're not out there being social all the time, for those of us who aren't social people, you're left in the dark. So I don't think it should be limited to only the public viewpoint. Otherwise, they're just going to be like, oh, that's the route I drive to work every day, so that's the only mural I see. It knocks a lot of the people out of the park on that one, especially if it's not within the city of Eureka kind of a thing. So there's definitely some really strong topics, but the diversity of it should be a little bit more thought out, I think. That's it. Emily Reinhardt.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that anytime I think we can find ways of circumventing what ends up becoming a popularity contest, I don't know. I think like that's yeah. It is. Particularly since I think the artists who are winning the popularity contests are already fine. Like those are the artists who are doing well by definition, right? If we're really thinking the part of the objective with these nominations is to help artists further along in their careers or whatnot, then looking at the people who are like up and coming or who maybe just quieter and doing their thing, in certain channels, I do think that's something to look at for sure.
And this is purely a discussion item, so there is no vote on it. So I just wanted to see if there was any other thoughts or discussion points. Oh,
to the chair, I was just thinking, while I was listening, there's some really great ideas. Just another idea, as someone who's on the board of the Transit Authority, is bus wraps are pretty affordable, and it could be an interesting and fun way of you celebrating public transit and also bringing greater visibility to the artist of the year.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. As a person whose language is on the bus wrap, it's pretty awesome to be able to see my language. Just sitting at a stoplight and all of a sudden there goes the bus and I'm like, oh, that's my language. so it makes me happy and thrilled, and I can imagine that would be the same sentiment that somebody, who's an artist, to see their work being traveled all up and down, the highway and into town. So yeah, I like that idea.
I saw a great initiative on buses in Washington State when I lived up there. The poets, on the interior ads in the buses and the ceilings, they had the poet laureate for the state kind of do a curated from all over the state submissions from all levels and ages of poets, and they're different routes from King County to Spokane County. had different poems, and it was really high exposure, really cool thing. And it usually, like, they did something where if you were from the east side of the state, your poems were on routes on the west side and vice versa, to make sure that it was broadening your audience. I mean, we're not going statewide. California is much bigger. I don't think we want to deal with the 800-mile plus. But the idea of expanding your audience is what I love about the idea of the bus. It's, I think pushing the envelope of how to find anyone beyond the atypical that shows up for your event is always a plus for that promotion thing. Yeah.
This is all great feedback. We will take it all and put together a program with some options for you to choose from at the next meeting.
I have a question, but I don't know where to ask it. What happened to the Welcome to Eureka part of the... Oh.
Okay, so we'll go on to our next report and communication, the Caltrans Clean California program updates. So we currently, our division has 3 different projects that we're working with Caltrans and specifically Clean California funded projects. So first I want to give you all an update on the utility boxes. And I want to publicly thank Sarah West because she has hit the 1,000 page mark of documents she has sent to Caltrans to get these 32 utility boxes going. So yay, Sarah. So administrating public art with Caltrans has been intense, and we're doing it and it's going well, but it has been a lot. But also thank you, Caltrans. And so in the very near future, you will see 32 boxes getting repainted. So we're excited about that. Another project that we've been doing with Caltrans is lighting up the 4 pillars under the Samoa Bridge. So the 4 pillars that were painted, the murals, they are going to get some LED lights that are the same color as the pillars. So like the purple pillar will be lit purple, orange, green, and blue. So that'll be happening in the next couple months. And then for the Herrick Overpass, for the signage, we did some preliminary design work, and then Caltrans had some project savings from a different project that they were able to roll over to the Herrick signage. So we now have a bigger budget for it, and so they have gone back and are redesigning things that can be on a bigger scale. And so that will be a more public process in the near future. So that's kind of more through the design review committee that's being refined down to 3 different signs, and then that will be put through a public poll. So you'll see that soon. But that is the scoop on all of the Caltrans Clean California projects.
Thank you.
Quick follow-up, hopefully here. Just to, well, again, thank you, Sarah, for all the pages. But I mean, to me, like, I don't know, like, this isn't a conversation necessarily for the city of Eureka, but just in terms of eliciting feedback from you. I mean, like, it's great that Caltrans are offering these programs, but my question would be, it seems like, wow, that's a lot of work to make this happen. And I guess I'm just trying to, if you might be able to speak a little bit more to that, just because my concern immediately, the alarm bell that goes off is like, oh, well, this really seems like these programs that inherently favor larger municipalities that have more staff to throw at these projects. Or, I mean, again, I would say, like, here in the city of Eureka, I know you keep coming back to, like, hey, there's only 3 of you, and yeah, there are only 3 of you, but you all really care about the arts and culture a lot. If you personally weren't in the job positions that you are, I don't know what would be happening. Probably not nearly as much, particularly if there are obstacles like what you're describing at the state level with these agencies where they're like, okay, great, we can have these programs, we have to submit all this paperwork. And I don't know, that just seems to me like that ends up, again, there is an inherent bias in that system. So I don't know maybe if you could just take a moment to speak to your personal experience on that.
Sure. I think this is unique to Clean California. I think Clean California grant was created to kind of bring California out of COVID. And so it's like this unique opportunity with this pot of money that they are kind of doing something different than they normally do. And so they are doing these smaller projects that are different than their normal really large projects. And they use the same process for their really large projects as they do for their smaller projects. So this is kind of a unique situation. However, I have seen improvements by Caltrans. They redesigned their copyright agreement. They are taking legislative action to change. Part of why they go through the city of Eureka is because of their procurement process. They always have to take the lowest bid, and that's not appropriate for artists. And so they aren't able to do this directly themselves. And so they are making moves so that will change, so that they're able to start doing this internally. So I do think they see the value of art. They see the value of investment in art. I think Eureka has benefited from this opportunity. But I do big picture see good things on the horizon. Also, Caltrans, 65% of their workforce is going to retire in the next 5 years. So it is a changing of the guard there. It is new things are happening, and you can see that they are more progressive. So,
well, no, thank you for that. It's encouraging to hear that there are changes happening to the process.
And I had one more thing to tag on to that thought. The same pot of money has also done quite a bit of work with smaller communities. It paid for the Manila gateway signage that you saw go up. I believe also there are programs. The folks that we work with have been working with a lot of smaller communities and helping them. We just happened to bite off, I think, some projects that were a little more complex. Having 32 approvals is different than having one approval too. So.
And Sarah, do you have confirmation on how many of the artists are actually redoing their boxes on the 101? Or
so we have a handful of returning artists who are touching up the art that they have. And in some cases, some of the Caltrans has some new policies about what can and can't go in art, as you, I think, saw in our call for artist proposals. So the art will be touched up to meet those policies in some cases. But the majority of the previous artists chose not to submit a proposal to return. And so we have a lot of new artists coming from the catalog that you all approved.
So Eureka Cultural Arts District update?
Okay, well, you are all well familiar with the Cultural Arts District, but for folks who may be watching that aren't, the Eureka Cultural Arts District is a state designation, and it highlights and celebrates Eureka's cultural and art assets. I'm struggling with, there we go. Okay, so this designation has been around for a while, but recently we went through a redesignation process, and the state also provided some grant funding. And through the redesignation process, the original partners, the City of Eureka, the Young People Center for the Arts, and Eureka Main Street, went through that process and also added the Wiat Tribe as a partner. So we have all signed an MOU together. And that is essentially what, as a group, we've been working on for the last year and a half, is going through redesignation, hammering out our policies and how to work together, and getting that MOU signed. And now we're ready to launch into our next phase. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Leslie to talk about what she's been up to with some of the big moves that we've had in the last couple of months.
Sure, thanks. Good to see y'all today. So the biggest, well, personally exciting news is we've hired a staff member for the Cultural Arts District specific to manage the district, and that's Vahan Petrosian. He couldn't be here today. He's kind of wrapping up another career, and so he will be joining the next Art and Culture Commission meeting. He's has been really involved with cannabis and the hospitality industry, and is also a graphic designer, and he's the director of Trinidadies. They do a lot of different arts and culture events in the community. So I'm looking forward to y'all meeting Vahan. We also are in the process of establishing the Leadership Council. So through a long series of stakeholder meetings, of which for sure Jemima and Calder participated in, amongst and Marnie, amongst other art and culture leaders in the community, where it was decided that there should be a Leadership Council of arts and culture leaders to govern and give input to the Cultural Arts District. So that is in the process of launching. I have some little flyers for folks too. Just today, we have an application open for folks who want to serve on the Leadership Council. And then we also are going to have a public launch on August 16th. I'm going to pass out some invitations. This launch will be kind of a party and brand launch that will coincide with the Friday night market from 5 to 8. And then also, and I totally had forgotten about this, last year we established that at the Brenda Tuxford Gallery for the month of September, it would be the Eureka Cultural Arts District Art Show. So that will also be happening in September and opening on September 7th. So I'll pass out some invitations for folks, and we definitely all hope that y'all get involved in some way here or there. That's all for now.
And to briefly add on about the Leadership Council, so to start with, the partners are all designating 2 appointees to the council to get it up and running. And the city of Eureka, our mayor is the person who chooses the representatives, and she has designated myself and then also Bernadette Vielbig as our representatives that are going to be on the Leadership Council. And you all saw the MOU come through, I believe, at your last meeting. But just as a reminder, the Leadership Council is going to be sort of the group that helps to guide the processes and projects that come down the pipeline with this grant money. Any questions?
At the brand launch, there will be lots of Eureka Cultural Arts District collateral. So, stickers, sweatshirts, matchbooks, keychains. Hopefully only actually useful things. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah. Beanies. Anyway.
Thank you, Leslie. Oral communications? Does anyone have anything? Okay, I'd like to call, the next meeting is Tuesday, September 17th, and the Eureka Art and Culture Commission is adjourned at 1:33.